The prayer's been given. Governing body comes to the microphone. His eyes are watering because of the stench. Offensive to Christ Jesus' nostrils. So what are some activities that could taint God's worship today? The potential of being drawn into sexual uncleanness. You're saying, come on, it was pretty benign, wasn't it? There's nothing wrong with an exercise program. True. It was something on the internet. And if we do, we unload the old garbage trucks and we get in a race car for life.
So yeah, this one's going to be interesting. So let's do this. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we're looking at a talk from the convention that is from one of my favorite speakers that has ever been introduced to JW.org, Mr. Floin. And I like him so much because he is an unhinged lunatic, and he's a member of the teaching committee. This is the upper echelon of Watchtower's teaching ability, and he has given us some absolute classics. I think the best one was the bread. Everyone remembers the good old bread. I remember it even when I was a Jehovah's Witness. So, it's a cinema. It's a movie. There are plot twists. There's character development. It's a wild talk. I think we're actually going to watch most of it just so you can really experience what I just experienced when I just finished watching this for the first time. So anyway, quickly before we get into it though, don't forget to drop a like on the video. It does help it get out to more people on YouTube. I very much appreciate it. Also, I'm trying to hit 45,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate it if you could help me reach that goal, because let's be honest, reaching goals is really cool, and not reaching them, pretty cringe, pretty sad. So make sure you're subscribed, very much appreciated. With all of that, let's jump right into it.
Pretend you're somewhere else. You're not in this assembly hall. Instead, you're at an international convention, a huge stadium. And you are one of the special ones invited because you have a foreign assignment as a missionary, construction worker in another branch territory. You've been invited to a special convention, and the beautiful thing is a member of the governing body is going to address you personally as a group. They found a location big enough. They set up chairs. There's a microphone. But the place that it's located is right near a truck dock. And in the truck dock are two garbage trucks. And as the various ones come in for this beautiful, encouraging talk by a governing body member, they smell this horrid smell. It's putrefying. The prayer's been given. Governing body comes to the microphone. His eyes are watering because of the stench. He has a handkerchief at his nose. This is not going to be the encouraging visit you expected.
So these garbage trucks are going to be heavy featured characters in the development of this story. So we needed to get their whole backstory going here. These imaginary garbage trucks exist at this imaginary international convention that this imaginary governing body member who is using an imaginary... It's the thing about Kenneth Floin that makes him so wonderful is nothing can ever be simple for him. He has to overcomplicate everything by drawing on the most obscure, bizarre references and metaphors. It's kind of like me. Wait, am I Kenneth Floin?
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
So after introducing the garbage trucks, he introduces a video. Well, doesn't introduce it. We've already seen it not once, but twice already at this convention. We're in the Saturday afternoon at this point in the timeline. It's a little snippet about Jesus. When he goes into the temple, he sees people buying and selling. This leads him to do some curious commentary because it almost sounds like he's denouncing the practices of the governing body.
Why was buying and selling wrong? Why was it such a stench to Jesus, a violation of what is holy? Buying and selling animals was not wrong. you remember in the video? Jesus took some time to assess what was going on. It was almost like, I smell something. And he found it. And that's when he took action. But why? Why did he take action if they were allowed to sell and buy? Because of the location. It was in the confines of the temple area, the house of his God. And that made it a putrid smell to our Lord Christ Jesus. He was upset. They were buying and selling in the temple complex. And on top of that, many were cheating, raising the prices. That was wrong. It was a violation of the holy place.
So Jesus would be upset if people were using a temple, spiritual or otherwise, a holy place, a place meant for worship of God, as a place for commerce, as a way to profit, as a way to scam people. Sound familiar?
The text reminds us of using our financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus. And even though Jehovah owns everything, seeing us giving, making sacrifices, makes him happy.
How do we use the material things of this world to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus?
In the days of Ezra and Nehemiah, the Israelites willingly gave material contributions in support of true worship. And we have the same privilege today. For your convenience, donations can be made online at donate.jw.org.
We have the privilege of supporting this and other aspects of the kingdom work. For your convenience, donations can be made online at donate.jw.org.
You have made kind donations online at donate.jw.org.
In many countries, we can give using a credit or some debit cards via jw.org. Anyone can make donations online by creating an account if they don't already have one. This makes donating simpler both for you and for the organization.
This reminds me that I also have to make my own donations, just as every other member of the Bethel family does. I am very happy and very grateful to Jehovah for allowing me to enjoy this beautiful provision.
This is an organization that made a movie depicting an African refugee camp. And in that African refugee camp, they couldn't help but set up a donation box where other religious organizations would have water, food, shelter, clothing, vaccinations set up at a refugee camp. The Watchtower puts a donation box. If that's not the most specific example of a religion doing exactly what Jesus was against, I don't know what is. If Jesus walks into the metaphoric temple here that I've created in my mind now, and he sees all the different religious vendors out there, and there you got the Catholics over here giving doves away for free, so that way poor people, can save some. You got the Adventists over here giving the wheat offering, whatever the case is. And then you have the Jehovah's Witnesses giving people nothing, but trying to stand at the gate and charge people an entrance fee. Who do you think that Jesus is going to kick out of this temple? So it's very, very strange to hear him, talk about how Jesus would just want to get rid of these people, because he's talking about the organization that you support.
No one may harm her. A beautiful word picture of Jehovah protecting his people today. He assigned Jesus as the head of the Christian congregation. And as in the first century, when Jesus looked out in that courtyard, he acted, and Jesus and his holy angels act today to keep God's congregation clean, particularly in respect to our worship. But I'd like to look at verse 4 of chapter 27 now. It says, "There is no wrath in me, no wrath in me." And then he says, Who will confront me with thorn bushes and weeds in the battle? I will trample them and set them on fire altogether. No wrath in me? Does that sound like a discrepancy of some sort? No wrath in me, I'll just set them all on fire? Well, think about an orchard. Those that are taking care of the orchard, they have no axe to grind against weeds. Weeds have always been, come and gone. They have no wrath against the weeds and thistles, but they will be sure that they're removed from the vineyard and taken care of. And Jehovah feels similarly that they should be taken care of, disposed of. So how thankful we can be that Jesus intends to keep the organization today clean. We worship Jehovah in his great spiritual temple. And it's not a literal building like this assembly hall. In fact, as you know, many of our brothers and sisters don't even have a kingdom hall. So what is the great spiritual temple today? And today, Jesus intends to watch the entire organization arrangement to keep it clean. And we're so happy that he does. He is happy to see us zealously sharing in true worship. He is happy, pleased to see us helping to keep the worship clean and pure, and that we are avoiding anything that would taint our worship.
What is the actual mechanism by which Jehovah and Jesus plan on protecting the congregation? I'm very confused here. Like, what is it that they actually do to protect the people in the organization, to keep pure worship clean? Do they have rigorous policies? They're very forward-thinking when it comes to any allegations of CSA, so they make sure their members are protected, get rid of any of that garbage, truck-worthy filth? No. They have one of the worst track records. They have one of the worst responses. And they stubbornly refuse to change, even trying to lobby governments not to change any laws that could negatively affect them. They fail there. Is it that they make sure that this is not a house of commerce? No. They just set up an asset management company. An asset management company. Why? Because they have a lot of assets and they want someone very smart to manage them. If they were trying to keep it clear, wouldn't they have very transparent financials? Everyone could see, okay, here's how much money we have on hand. Here's how much money we spent doing X, Y, and Z. Here's how much money we received from donations. Here's exactly where it went to, but it's a mystery. It is a giant game of can you find the ball when it comes to them and their finances. So I don't think that Jehovah and Jesus are demonstrating any level of care when it comes to keeping this organization's worship pure and clean. Do they have a rigorous doctrine that stands up to the test of time? It's almost infallible. Yeah, sure, some human error here and there, very minor changes, but for the most part, their doctrine has remained rock steady down through the decades. Absolutely not. This religion is unrecognizable to me, and I left 10 years ago. You go back 10 years before that, and that religion is unrecognizable. And every so often, some might even say every generation, when there's a turnover of leadership, the organization completely changes. There's still the 144,000, there's still the paradise, there's still only the anointed can eat the bread and the cookies. Like, there's some basic things. But for goodness sake, they're not even turning in field service time anymore. How weird is it to see brothers getting on stage, full facial hair? It's weird, it's strange, it's bizarre. More evidence that they're not consistent. So I'm just trying to understand in his mind when he says these words, Jehovah and Jesus, they're going to protect us. How? What would that actually look like? And I don't think that this guy has ever asked himself that question.
Oh, no, 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 I don't want to, no, no, oh, no, 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 huh?
So let's take a quick listen and see how he's going to introduce my favorite videos from this entire convention series.
So what are some activities that could taint God's worship today? Well, we're going to be watching it in an upcoming dramatization, but for now, I want you to bear in mind that you may have to use some discernment. What is the potential of a garbage truck rolling up to park in your garage? A, it's not about exercising or working out physically, but instead it's about what was the motive, what was the purpose, how did that come about? B, it's not about selling or buying facial cream and makeup, but what would Jesus not approve of? And C, it's not about doing a side job to make extra money, but what could contaminate our worship? Well, we're going to ask you to use your discernment, watch carefully, see if you can pick up on the details. Roll camera.
Oh yes, as we watch these videos, we need to use discernment because the points Watchtower wants to make aren't excruciatingly obvious, even to someone of such low IQ as Ken Floin. I know we've already covered these and watched these, but just for the giggles, why not give them another dance?
I like to feel my best.
Okay, let's get you out of this chair.
For others and for myself.
Nice work, Poppy.
Hey, thanks.
Some cardio, then we'll go to the service group?
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, hey, check out this sculpting routine for next week.
Hey girls, sculpt your body and drive men crazy with this high-intensity workout.
What?
She's certainly proud of her physique.
She's got millions of followers.
Yeah, I can see why.
She gets noticed. What's so wrong with a little attention?
Something that occurred to me watching this for the second time was this strange contradiction. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, it was pounded into my brain that we wanted to be so separate from the world that we were going to stand out. It was going to be blatantly obvious to anyone, even walking down the street, that you were somehow different. And if you've been a Jehovah's Witness, if you see Jehovah's Witnesses out there in the wild, you know that little cult look that they give you, where they're wide-eyed and they're always kind of smiling and nose in the air like they're a little bit better than everyone else. You know the thing I'm talking about.
That's a trait that I want in a partner for my kids.
So on one hand, they're always being told, no, you got to separate yourself from the world. You got to stand out. No, you are a member of Christ's organization. And he said, my people will be no part of this world, so you need to be separate. You need to stand out. So that's fine to stand out in that regard. But then if you want to do anything that might make you stand out, like having a nice butt, because you do a lot of squats, that's unacceptable. So you can only stand out for the organization. You can only stand out in the context that you are appearing to be a good Jehovah's Witness. But if it's anything personal, if it's any way to bring any attention to you as an individual, as having some type of authentic identity, then that is immediately stepped on. Now, if that doesn't make you say, wow, this is really a cult, I don't know what will.
We've got our daily bread.
Ready to go?
Yeah. And we're making ends meet. Alex. But a little extra would go a long way. You like this one?
Yeah.
Work from home. Sell to your family and friends. We can work from home.
Yeah.
And with all the friends in the congregation, our family is huge. This kind of work was made for us, right, little man?
There were so many people in the comments to my first video about this drama series saying, oh, well, you know, Watchtower is actually giving good advice. It's protecting people from joining any MLMs. But is it? Did they just come out and say, hey, you know, you don't want to get scammed. You don't want to try and scam other people with getting involved in an MLM. They didn't say that, because if they said that, it might be tattling on themselves. People might ask themselves, maybe I'll Google the tactics of an MLM just so I can protect myself from this type of behavior. And then when you see that, you might start to correlate that to your life in the organization and ask yourself, am I being scammed?
Oh, no, 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 I don't wanna, no, no, oh, no, 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 huh?
Dinner's almost ready.
Great.
I'm just about done with the bookwork.
Did we cover everything?
Just barely. You know, I was thinking, that job that just came in, you said they wanted fast and offered to pay us in cash?
Yeah, but we'll work hard however they pay us.
What if we take the cash and consider it a side job? Not part of the business?
So keep it off the books?
Taxes took so much last year. Look, here's how much we'd save. Things wouldn't be so tight. Does the government even care about what small businesses pay?
That kind of money wouldn't mean much to them, but it would mean the world to us.
Now, curiously, Kenneth Floin just doesn't acknowledge that this clip, this part of the dramatization even happened. It's really strange. I guess we'll get there when we get there, but yeah, he pretty much forgets that this part happened. So I'm thinking maybe it's a little awkward talking about tax paying, being honest with the government, just being honest in how you carry out your business. Maybe as someone that has been at Bethel for a very long time, has seen a lot of shady things within the organization, maybe he just doesn't want to talk about it all that much. There's a bit of a mental block there. But anyway, let's turn our attention back to Kenneth Floin. He is going to go on some bizarre red-faced harangue. He wants those fries animal style. So he is going in against the evils and snares of sexual immorality. And boy, howdy, he has got a lot to say about it.
In the video, the witnesses involved had not yet done anything wrong. But shall we say that they were entering a realm where it might be as if they stepped in something offensive to Christ Jesus' nostrils. Well, what was the first one? The potential of being drawn into sexual uncleanness. You're saying, come on, it was pretty benign, wasn't it? There's nothing wrong with an exercise program. True.
Somehow, even in his delusional cult brain, he was able to correctly identify that this was benign. It was just an exercise routine, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And he acknowledges it. True. The talk should have ended there, but unfortunately, there's a large conjunction, and we're not talking about her. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just not going to finish that sentence.
Patty cake with no hands.
But you notice what was driving it? It was something on the internet, a following. And when it said, you'll have a body that will make men's head turn, did that trigger something? What was behind that? What was the purpose? So our topic here is keep free from uncleanness. The original Bible word translated uncleanness, it's a broad term, and it's much broader than simply being restricted to gross or serious sexual sin. It's much broader. Uncleanness can involve things that titillate their feelings, and they want more, and they want more. It's like garbage sitting in the garage. It begins to stink further and further every day, every minute. We need to decisively get it off the property.
Wow. All right, let's do this. First off, you'll have a body that makes men's heads turn. I don't know if I've ever heard that in a Peloton class before. I'll be completely honest with you. What is that? It's so made up. Maybe someone would say that as a joke or something, but usually, I think for the vast majority, an overwhelming percentage, any motivational speech is going to be how you should be doing this for you. How you should take control of your life. How you should be proud of yourself. It's going to be about improving oneself, improving one's body, improving one's mind, taking control of one's health. It's not going to be about, well, glad you did this workout, ladies. Now go out on the street so you can make men's heads turn. It's just made up. You're just making stuff up. But let's play the game. You know what? I'm feeling a little lucid today. Let's play your silly little game, Mr. Floin. If someone wants to make men's heads turn, how is this going to be entirely problematic? You are a young, attractive, single Jehovah's Witness woman, and you're trying to remain faithful, trying to be a good little pioneer or whatever. What's wrong with being attractive, specifically? What's problematic about that? Like, I don't understand what the issue is. Oh, well, you might make men's heads turn. So, I would quite like to get married, honestly. In fact, I'm trying to present myself to be fairly attractable, so that way I can, find someone I find attractive as well. Maybe one day we can get married, knock boots, make a bunch of Jehovah's Witness babies, grow them up in the organization, send them off to Bethel to go do free work for you. What is the actual problem with someone just wanting to be attractive? Are you telling people that they should desire to be ugly? I really am confused here. I don't understand. The only thing I can think is that, and maybe we'll have to get into the archives here. Maybe I'll go on a little side quest, but I don't see him wearing any wedding ring. I don't know his backstory. I don't know his, you know what? We'll pause right here. I will look it up, do a little research, and we'll jump right back. Now, going through the archives here, I didn't see him all the way, years ago, almost 10 years ago, wearing a wedding ring. So don't really know the answer to that question. I couldn't find an article about his history with Watchtower, at least readily. So if anyone in the comments wants to correct me and has intimate details about him, let me know. But let's just work with this little tinfoil hat conspiracy. I'm thinking that maybe he is a very frustrated person. Has he grown up in Bethel? Has he been serving Watchtower so long and been completely ignored by women that he's attracted to? Maybe he's not even attracted to women, and that's even adding to his frustration. Just throwing out possibilities here right now. Is he just projecting his own frustrations on the entire organization of Jehovah's Witnesses? Is he sitting there like, man, I've only had my left hand as my companion my whole life, and you guys should too. What, you want to be attractive? Don't you know that it's basically a sin to be attractive? Don't you know if you want to make a man's head turn, that's essentially uncleanness? It's a sin. It's gross. It's yucky. Doth protest too much. I think that maybe something is going on under the surface. I imagine if it is true that maybe he's just been single his whole life and he's just kind of like sexually frustrated, I can imagine there's a lot of bitterness that goes along with that. And because of that, it might turn you into this weird salivating old man that wants to give advice to young single women in your organization about not being too attractive because you just want to see everyone as miserable as you. And that is a very Jehovah's Witness mindset that I understand. They love misery. Misery loves company, and they always try and bring people down. If you have spent any time in this organization, you know that if anyone achieves something, if they do something cool, if they have any success, if they are moving forward in their life, you will be surrounded by people trying to drag and pull you down. No, buddy, you're going to be miserable just like me. I cannot stand when anyone is happy. I feel like this is 90% of what's going on. So anyway, if anyone does know, comment down below. I'll pin your comment. You can correct me and call me an idiot, but that is just my little tinfoil hat microscope. Why do I keep saying microscope? That's the second time I've done that. Magnifying glass conspiracy.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up.
Please read with me Ephesians 5, 3, and 4. It says, let sexual immorality, now that's an outright serious sin. But then it uses the word and. And it says, every sort of uncleanness or greediness not even be mentioned among you, just as is proper for holy people. Neither shameful conduct, nor foolish talking, nor obscene jesting, things that are putrefied. It says not befitting, but rather the giving of thanks. Uncleanness includes viewing
little enemy of God.
It's true, it's not sexual fornication. There's no body contact. But it's stirring something up, and it's called uncleanness. Engaging in online discussions glorifying sex. Looking at provocative images wherever they are. It could be in a catalog. Sexting, again, no physical contact, but it is sexual uncleanness.
I actually stood up in my chair laughing when I first heard that. It could be in a catalog. This guy was beating it to Victoria's Secret, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, probably a Sears catalog. Who really knows, honestly, at this point? But what are you talking about? Let's not even have sexual uncleanness mentioned among us, then proceeds to mention different types of sexual uncleanness. Okay, all right, all good. If you're going to give this broad definition of just sexual uncleanness, goobers like this will play Mad Libs. Is that the right one where you fill in like the different adjectives and stuff like that? I think that's what it's called. Is it Mad Libs? I think it's Mad Libs. Anyway, they will play that and they'll say, well, that means this. That means this. And if you have people that are controlling other people's lives by the policies that they can make, it's going to be their specific interpretation. It's not going to be up to the individual and their personal relationship with God. Is there a universal code of conduct that has been wholly agreed upon all Christians living in the world? If you talk to a Jehovah's Witness, they'll say, oh, well, this is bad. You know, and you go and talk to a Protestant, they might say, well, that's a little bit insane. That's not accounting for Jesus's grace. That's not there's a little bit of nuance there. Not that serious. So it just depends. It just depends on who you talk to about this. But in this organization, no, you have guys like this. Guys like him are sitting there making rules for other people. And I think with the expressed intent of making their lives completely miserable. Because they have lived a miserable life and they just want to pass that baton down. Careful what you do with that baton, though, because we wouldn't want to get yourself in trouble.
Over like this, I'd probably feel 100%. But Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc.
So nothing wrong with the sister's exercise routine. But it was this online tantalizing voice in her ear that could lead from bad to worse, like garbage sitting in the garage. It needs to be taken out to the landfill and burned. Well, we commend all of you, and when I say all of you, I'm not talking about those in their late teens and 20s. I'm talking about all of you, whatever age, all of you who are holding fast to the high moral standards of Jehovah, including staying away from uncleanness. What a treasure you are. And if you're battling that, what should you do? Take decisive action now like Jesus did. Drive it out. Drive it out of the dock to the dump.
So this is the second time he mentioned it, so I thought I would wait until now to bring it up. But why is he so worried about, it's this online, it's a online following? Why specifically does that make it bad? The fact that it's online. You are giving this talk that will be available to people online. You've gone on JW Broadcasting, where you have a following, and talked about poisonous bread online. So inherently, it just can't be bad. So why is it bad for someone else to do it? It really just makes no sense. Now here, what I think this is the smoking gun. He's like, I'm not just talking to teenagers. I'm not just talking about young adults. A little weird he brings up teenagers in this context, but we'll just move right past that. I'm talking about everyone. Everyone that is holding fast. Maybe people like him. Even if you are older and you've been holding fast, we would like to commend you. I would like to commend myself, pat myself on the back for holding to these stringent rules for my entire life. What a pathetic old loser.
Well, what about a person who maybe he's been battling uncleanness, but now it's become an entrenched habit? Well, something more may need to happen. He may not have the keys of the garbage truck to drive it off the property. So what is the key to success? First, pray to Jehovah fervently for help. And if you succumb again, pray to Jehovah fervently for help. And if a few weeks later, a month later, you succumb again, pray to Jehovah fervently for help. Talk to sympathetic elders who are empathetic, not necessarily judgmental. Get their help. Read articles about avoiding these habits that may not be sexual immorality per se, but the stench is being detected.
Well, I told you this was going to be cinematic. Here is our wacky, eccentric side character who's coming to open up the door so we can go on a little side mission. He positions a empathetic and a sympathetic elder against one that's more judgmental. Did he just acknowledge that there are some judgmental elders out there? Why are they still elders? You are part of the teaching committee. I feel like if you know this to be true, and this is a little bit of a Freudian slip, you would be someone that could do something about that. You're actually someone who, like a normal Jehovah's Witness, you guys, if you've been a witness, you know exactly that there are some elders that are nice. They are trying to do the right thing. They are genuine, authentic, real human beings. There are some that are just kind of keep to themselves, a little bit shy. And then there's the over-the-top, self-righteous, this congregation is going to be made in my image. And they are obsessive about rule following. And they are very judgmental. Goose, what is your major malfunction? It was like a side quest within a side quest. It's like Inception, a dream within a dream. Anyway, you are intimately familiar with the idea that there are a vast array, a spectrum of elders and their behavior. And he, being an elder for a long time, is aware of this as well. He acknowledges it. Why not just do something about it? Because isn't it a problem to have judgmental elders? They're there to help people. They're there to assist people. They're there to make lives, their spiritual lives, better. If you know for a fact that there are judgmental assholes that are in positions of power over people, and that it will cause a problem and does cause problems for people's spiritual health, then why just make it a Freudian slip? Why not actually do something about it? Now, as a logical next step, he's going to talk about the next act in this series of skits that they made with the kid with the headphones and the electric sliding doors on the van. That is the next part that he should be moving on to. But he seems to be struggling to get from point A to point B.
It was the matter of contaminating true worship by secular contacts. And we saw in the video that there was a temptation, wasn't there? Yes. Well, the issue shown there in the video was related to maintaining a clean conduct and protecting the cleanliness of the congregation. Don't introduce commerce into worship. Exactly what Jesus was concerned about in the reenactment. And dishonesty can go beyond into other things. One that is mentioned, and probably for obviously good reason, is when filling out an application for another privilege of service in Jehovah's organization. Be honest. And not just in the matters of your sexual cleanliness and so forth. There's some comments or questions there. But what about your physical health? Be honest. Well, if I do, it might jeopardize my opportunity to come to Bethel. Be honest. It will be much less taxing to be honest than to come to Bethel. They find out you have a serious health problem, and they request you return to the field. Just be honest and serve Jehovah where's best for you.
What a fascinating thing that we've just witnessed here. So they show a single mom potentially thinking about, oh man, I might have some customers. I could work from home. Look, think about all the people I know at the Kingdom Hall. And we end up talking about filling out a Bethel application and being honest about your sexual past and your physical health. What? I don't know. I honestly don't even have a conspiracy. I don't even have any words. What did we just witness? It's like he had a meltdown in real time. I think his brain was still so concerned and worried about his personal problems that he's dealing with after ranting about other people's sexuality. Maybe it's got him all hot and bothered because he's reflecting on his own life. And he's just like, oh, I know I'm supposed to be talking about this single mom and, not using people for commerce and Jesus. That's what the script says. But I got a bone to pick with you, mother suckers. You keep coming to Bethel with these health conditions, and then we have to keep sending you back. And it's really pissing me off. Why can't you guys just be honest when filling out Bethel applications? I have no idea what happened. Maybe he's just losing, got some screws loose. But I'll be completely honest with you. I think that these are the people that need to be featured more heavily. I think you need to see what it looks like when you spend decades in this organization, what it does to your ability to effectively communicate an idea.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
So number one, we try to be honest in paying taxes. That's expected of us. Honest in all matters. And what did we discuss before that? Do not exploit our brothers and sisters for profit. And what about before that? Avoid forms of sexual uncleanness. And if we do, we unload the old garbage trucks and we get in a race car for life. As we mentioned previously, those in our video made a decision, but they didn't act on it yet. So as you watch the following dramatization, notice how these ones depicted take steps to keep themselves clean in Jehovah's spiritual temple, free from contamination. Video, please.
So after getting lost in the sauce, he skips right to the conclusion of his talk and thinks, okay, I'll just do a quick little recap. So first, what did we talk about? How to pay taxes. Well, no, I actually forgot to talk about that entirely, but I'll just say first. And then before that, we talked about not exploiting our brothers and sisters. Whoops. Looks like I forgot to mention that one as well. But sexual uncleanness. I think he just maybe got lost in his notes or something. Maybe he just lost the plot entirely. Should we watch the conclusion of these videos? No, I don't think so. We watched them in the last video. So let's hear how he wraps up the conclusion of this talk. Garbage trucks, sexual immorality, paying your taxes, not exploiting your brothers and sisters. He's going to take this entire miasma that he has put forth before everyone, this charcuterie board of ideas, and wrap it all up and spank it on the bottom.
We're so grateful that these witnesses, it's like they took something out of the refrigerator. And you've done this before, right? How long's it been in there? And you just go like, oh. You get a whiff and you toss it out. You don't keep smelling that thing. We should do the same when it comes to these issues that contaminate true worship. If left to fester in our garage, our hot garage, it doesn't turn into a bag of groceries. It goes the other way and becomes more foul, intensive, and difficult to get rid of. Imitate Jesus' zeal for true worship. He did not tolerate anything that Jehovah disapproved, and neither should we. Take corrective steps to take these things away from here.
So this is what's so interesting. He's talking about taking action. Take corrective steps. If you smell something that's foul, you don't keep it in there thinking it'll become a bag of groceries. You get rid of it. Brother, you are in one of the highest positions in this organization and have been for quite some time. You've already in this talk identified stinky issue that you have with judgmental elders. Get active. Get off this stage. Get on the horn. Get your pals together and see what you can do about it. You know you have a massive problem. It's not going to get better when it comes to shunning people. Shunning people is an evil, inhumane practice. Your own organization years ago acknowledged that it is a weapon that false religion uses to control people. You know that it's get rid of it. You know that your policies when it comes to protecting children are terrible. You know you need to change them. Get active. What would Jesus do? The whole talk is predicated on this idea that Jesus saw something that was contaminating pure worship in the temple, and he got rid of it. This is a Twilight Zone moment, man. You, as an organization, as being one of the highest ranking people, should be getting active, doing something about it. Anyway, this ends a weird journey. I know I kind of did the convention a little bit different this year and not going day by day, but just anything I found interesting or specific talks, just kind of talking about those. So anyway, I hope you guys like this style. It's a little bit different, but I'm uploading a lot. If it's too much, just comment down below and say, slow down, bozo, you're filling up my timeline too much, and I may or may not listen to that. Or if you like the daily uploads and it's a little extra bonus, I was trying to think of a clever metaphor, but I got nothing. I feel like I got brain rot after listening to that. You know what? Do the thing. Stay safe. Be kind. Spend more time loving the things you love than hating the things you hate. I'm going to go to the gym because I want to have a good-ass day. So you should too. I'm still so confused about this idea of like not being attractive. Like what? It just like what does it accomplish? I don't get it. Anyway, bye.